Karen McCullough started out just like any normal teenager. She did well in school, went to sports games, played the piano, loved hanging out with her friends, until one day her life changed forever. She got involved in theater.
I was a senior in high school and I took the one drama class that was offered. And then I was cast as Ado Annie in Oklahoma, and it was so much fun. I just loved being on stage and interacting with everyone else, making the audience laugh.
Then the inevitable happened.
I fell in love with it.
After that, she was never the same.
When I went to college, I started taking theater classes, but I didn't go in knowing I would be a theater major.
In 4 years, she learned a lot about the subject, but nothing would impact her more than her trip to New York City.
It was such an amazing experience. We saw 14 shows in 9 days, explored every part of the city I could find in my free time, and met with some great people who are in the theater business in the city. It really made me think hard about what I want to do after I graduate.
Join Karen as she finds her path as a theater major at the University of Mary Washington. Will she decide to make it her life's passion, or will it just be something she enjoys to do in her free time? Find out this summer in Dare to Theater, a documentary. Welcome to this exclusive behind-the-scenes look into Karen McCullough's life. Karen is a senior theater major at the University of Mary Washington in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and will be graduating in about 10 days. As she nears the end of her college career and must start making real decisions about her future, Karen can't help feeling a little overwhelmed. Tune in as she tells us about her story of how she became a theater major and what she plans to do after school is finished, and she is forced to make some key decisions about what direction she wants to go in.
Hi, I'm Karen McCullough, and I'm a senior at the University of Mary Washington.
Yeah, I didn't know I would be a theater major.
Going into college, I had expressed interest in the classics, but after one class of that, I knew I would be changing my mind. I started taking theater classes as soon as I got here, and by the end of sophomore year, I knew this was the major for me. I just really love the hands-on aspect of it. We have to do a practicum every semester, which is great because it gave me an opportunity to try all sorts of different things, like I was a house manager, light board operator, electrician, spotlight operator, and I've worked in the scene shop for 2 years. I love how much participation is involved and how easy it is to try new things. But I knew that there was one thing I really wanted to do, which is act.
There's just something about being on stage that it's just unlike any other experience I've ever had. Unfortunately, it took me until my junior year to even audition for a main stage show. I got called back, but I didn't get cast. I tried again this year, and I got cast in a minor role, which was really great for me because even though it was a small part, I was just glad to be on the main stage before I graduated. On top of all that, I didn't even take acting until this year, so needless to say, I got to a slow start. I've done quite a bit in Studio 115 though, which has been a lot of fun, and good experience, but not the kind I feel like I need to feel ready to go out into the real world and start auditioning for professional productions.
So, needless to say, I need more experience and training to prepare for the big time. I had high hopes as I entered my last semester of college and started taking ideas and performance. I didn't know much about the class except that we got to go to New York and that there was a huge project to do for it at the end. With a pretty hefty class fee and the whole of my spring break being taken up by the trip, I was hoping that the class would be worth it. And I have to say, it has been worth every penny, and then some. During the planning process in the first half of the semester, I started to wonder if it would all be worth it. It wasn't long before the New York trip was approaching quickly, and we were all finding contacts and setting up appointments. The trip became real when we got our itinerary and learned about the 14 shows we would be seeing while in the city. That is when I knew the money and the hard work was going to pay off. I had several interviews lined up and more to come when we finally left for the city.
One thing everyone I met with agreed on was the importance of establishing contacts and connections in the business, which was a crucial part of our research for our class. I learned that I should keep in touch with everyone I meet because chances are they'll be valuable resources later on.
Another thing that almost everyone I met with said, that struck me the most, was how much dedication is required to make it in this business. You need unlimited supplies of motivation, persistence, and passion for what you do. Otherwise, you won't get anywhere. It takes an enormous amount of work to get your name out there and make yourself vulnerable enough just to let go and audition like crazy, all the while suffering through a paying job that you most likely hate. Lauren Reinhard, the director of the Rapscallion Theater Collective, stressed that you should be excited and committed and know that it isn't about the money. I know that I want to act, and as a result of this trip, I know how much effort it is actually going to take, and I have to be able to evaluate the steps I should be taking. The most important thing I learned in New York was that I do not want to move there to pursue my acting career.
I knew this before the trip, and I thought I might have changed my mind after spending time there, but I ultimately realized it really isn't the lifestyle I'm looking for. I visited 3 acting studios and saw a portion of what the city had to offer in terms of training programs, and thought that there couldn't be any better place to go. The people were so friendly, and the whole atmosphere was really comfortable, particularly at T. Schreiber's studio. It just felt at ease and like I could fit in there.
I was convinced for a short period of time after visiting these places that I would at least move there long enough to get some training and then go on from there. But after some real consideration, I knew it just was too much for me and that I wouldn't like it even for a short amount of time. The people I talked to did not hesitate to express just how hard it is to live in New York and that you need a pretty tough skin. And though I think I could make it if I really tried and just went for it, I know that I don't need to, that there are other places I can go to do what it is I want to do. What is it exactly that I want to do? Well, I want to get the proper amount of training and experience in acting that will allow me to be prepared to take on real auditions and eventually professional productions. I know that there are endless opportunities out there for acting training. It's just a matter of looking for them and making some real decisions, which is the hard part. Unfortunately, my motivation is not always at the caliber it should be, and I know that I need to step it up if I really want to do this.
The next stage for me is to find a program that suits me and in a location that I like and that I can afford. Money shouldn't be an issue, but 6 months from now, when I have to pay thousands of dollars of student loans, it's going to become a factor. So for now, I'm just in stages of looking for the right place for me that fits what I'm looking for, which is some kind of training program, acting classes, or even an internship, so that I can acquire enough knowledge about the craft that I can make it on my own. It's a big, scary world out there, but I'm confident that if I'm really passionate about what I do, that I'll succeed.
Thanks for joining us for this exclusive look into the life of Karen McCullough as she finishes up the last days of her career as a student and makes her way into the real world where she must learn firsthand what it takes to be an actor. Will she make it in the big bad industry of theater, or will it be too much for her and force her to find a new path? Either way, keep an eye out because one of these days you may see her name in lights. In a world where growing up is hard to do, one girl finds herself face to face with reality. After 16 years of school and summer vacations, senior theater major Karen McCullough must suddenly take on real-life, grown-up responsibilities, like finding a job, paying rent, bills, taxes. With mere days left until graduation, she still isn't sure which direction to go. She knows the obvious options if she wants to act. New York.
I know I don't want to live in New York. As full of opportunities as it is just not for me.
DC.
I love DC. Right now, that is my first choice of places to move and start out my acting career.
But there is theater everywhere. You just have to look harder for it.
I know that there are so many options out there and it can be overwhelming, but I need to keep looking and eventually I'll find something that really fits what I'm looking for.
And then there's her love of movies.
I love theater and I love being on stage, but movies are my second passion and I would just like the opportunity to at least try acting for film and see if I love one more than the other.
Mary Pilger and Karen McCullough will present a scene from Spider-Man 2. I'm Spider-Man. What? But why?
What she'll do, she still doesn't know, but she has learned enough about the profession to know that the opportunities are endless. This summer, follow the inspiring story of a young woman as she finds her way in life and discovers what's really important.